right, so I'm here with JP Juan Bergas. He's with UQUAL, and I couldn't wait for this conversation because all kinds of information about credit repair. We are here to demystify these urban legends about credit and credit repair. So, JP, it is a pleasure to have you here, man. Listen, the floor is yours. Please share with the audience whatever you want to share with them about your personal life, professional, it doesn't matter.
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, I'm pumped that I finally get to work with you and collaborate together, because I know we've had conversations and business, and it's just nice to finally be able to do spend a good Friday morning, and kind of teaching and sharing. I'm here in Denver, Colorado. I've been in the credit industry for about 10 years now, between two different companies, father of two boys. Spent the World Cup in Argentina, so it's been a good 2023 for me. Now moving in 2024, we went through a rocky, let's call it, mortgage market. It wasn't the best that we expected, but things are turning around. And the reason that I wanted to connect with you today is what you said, is there's so much information out there, and because of these little things, nowadays it's hard to know what's truth, what isn't. As you know, I work directly with loan officers. We are a partner to Movement Mortgage, and part of what I do, along with our friend Montel, it's really a matter of education for the Grab the Key projects. I personally a little bit biased towards La Comunidad for obvious reasons, but what I've realized with working with loan officers is that we are running into an era of over-information without education. So there's a lack of education, even though we got more information that we can do with, right? Like, I just looked up how to make Brazilian picanha steak. So that's what I'm going to do when I get home later, right? An Argentinian making Brazilian food, but it's all out there. And the biggest thing, when I'm doing classes for my real estate agents, right? Like God bless them, they're the first line of defense that we have. Yeah. And they'll have questions like, why is it that all these online credit scores are so much higher? I take my client there, the lender pulls credit, and they get blindsided because they think that, mean lender wants me to have a low credit score kind of thing,
So let me follow up with that for a second, because obviously we hear that a lot. Thank you, by the way. And so let me ask you a question. This is a sidebar question. When we say football, when you hear the word football, are you thinking about the NFL?
No. It's all about Messi right now. Inter Miami. I lived in Barcelona for a while when Lionel was only like 17 years old. So I had the blessing to see that, not knowing, matter of fact, we have a little WhatsApp group with my dad and my brothers. I got three brothers, and they all live in different parts of the world. But we're all going to fly in, get together over in Miami to go see Argentina, because they're bringing the cup here. So you guys are lucky in Atlanta. You get 3 games.
I love it, man.
So you'll get to see you'll get to see some killers out there.
I love that, man. Okay, because I mean, football, that is football, right? I mean, it is.
Outside of the US, that's what everybody else calls it, right?
So you said something that's really interesting to me, and I don't know if we said this offline or you just said it in your opening, but data becoming currency. What does that mean?
Okay, so yeah, that was a little thing online, and that's a personal mission of mine, is that I want people to understand that they have the choice, and they're making a choice, right? Whether they want to or not, whether it's conscious or subconscious, you're making a choice to put your information out there, right? We all know that we say certain things in conversations, hanging out with your friends. I'm talking about that smoker that I want to get, or that new grill that I want to get. And then what I get in my phone? Advertisement for that grill or a competitor offset item, right? The other thing people don't understand is everybody that sees this, it doesn't matter what time it is, you're at one point or another going to go and face your mailbox. You're going to open your mailbox, and in there's going to be pre-approvals for Kim. You're pre-approved for this loan and this credit card and this line of credit. I've even seen things coming from HSBC, which people don't understand the significance of it, but that's a British bank, brother.
Yeah.
Why and how does a British bank know that I'm quote unquote pre-approved when I never told HSBC that I wanted to get pre-approved, nor did I give them permission to pull my credit or look at what we call our consumer credit profile, right? So we're getting bombarded in the sense where before it was advertisement, advertisement, advertisement. Now it's all about fill this form, scan this QR code, and you are just going with it. Because in a way, if I give you a little pebble of benefit, right, a little pebble of benefit for you to give me your email address and your phone number, who cares? Now, I'm not telling you in any way, shape, or form that I'm about to sell that information on average 3 times a day. The average American's information is being sold online 3 times a day. And that's not just what you and I know, right? Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. That's what you and I deal with every day. Right. But this is outside of that everyday conversation. So you have things like online credit scoring models, whether it be Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, whatever it is, right? There's many of them. Budgeting apps, many of them. Companies that quote unquote protect your data. You know, I had somebody, unfortunately, had LifeLock, I think it was, or whatever, for years and years and years. His identity still got stolen. So, you know, there's other avenues. I remember when the owner of LifeLock put his social and his date of birth on a giant, what do you call it, billboard, right? And it's like, hey, test me. And guess what? They tested it. And they stole his data. So we're in a day and age where, and you and I know this, right? As human beings, we are programmed to make the next thing better. Yeah. But there's always somebody else trying to figure out how to use that against us. So in our world, in the mortgage credit world, we saw this happen in November of 2022, where you have major players basically saying enough, okay? You're either going to protect these consumers or you're not. And if you're not going to protect these consumers, and Movement Mortgage was one of those companies that said, yes, we want to protect client data, not because it sounds good, it's the right thing to do. So you have one giant company that decided to go and protect people's data versus 2 other companies that said, well, no, let's just create a more competitive market. So now we're running into that new thing where yourself, anybody at Movement Mortgage, and we've had this conversation many times, like I go to you, hey man, I want to see about getting pre-approved. You pull my credit. The next day I get 120 phone calls. I get 17,000 text messages. Something that I learned recently, a few years back, when Montel and I were here at a huge event when I called Ruth, they were talking about the implementation of AI into marketing. And so there's a study where people are getting phone calls. Hey, Kim, I know that you're looking to become a homeowner. And here's the key phrases that they're putting or training this AIs to use. Imagine if you and I could have a quick conversation about buying down your rate. The other one is, hey, Kim, I know that you're working with Nikki over there at Movement, but I wanted to ask you a question. Will you be open-minded to having a discussion about a rate buy down? Wow. And so with these key phrases, we're starting to be able to pinpoint whether that's a human being or artificial intelligence. All of that to say, anytime that we download an application on our phone, right? Anytime that I scan a QR code, I'm giving up something. I'm not, my dad always said, if the product is free, you are the product.
Yeah.
You're
I love
always, you're always giving up something. So that's why I was like, hey man, like I need to be able to reach out to somebody that understands what it is that we're dealing with. And obviously you being at the forefront of the mortgage industry, you're seeing it. Yeah. So that's, you know, what's kind of a little bit alarming for me. And I really hope that, I know that the Mortgage Bankers Association is right now out there in Washington, D.C. fighting so that we can get something in place. So at least when I'm trying to buy a house, I'm trying to buy a car, I'm not getting bombarded with a bunch of marketers and artificial intelligence phone calls that I never asked for, right?
Yeah, that makes so much sense, man. Now you mentioned you mentioned Credit Karma, and so obviously, and I'm not badgering anybody. I'm not beating anybody up. I think there's a place for all this, and as long as they're doing it with the customer in mind, great. As long as they're having the customer have an awareness about their own credit situation, their finances, their on-time payments, and things like that, fantastic. However, there is a huge disparity sometimes in the actual credit score of someone and what Credit Karma is saying what their credit score is. And that part right there can cause challenges for people trying to secure financing. They think to themselves that, well, Credit Karma said my credit score is 700, but you're saying my credit score is 640. Why is that? JP, tell us why that is.
So confession first and foremost.
Yes.
Recovering user of Credit Karma, Truebill, Mint, right? I had it all. And I made this comment many times. The day that you started selling my data, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
The product is phenomenal. The platform is phenomenal. Credit Karma, I look at it as a really good digital line of defense to know, hey, there's somebody out there trying to take out credit using my name and my social, right? What better way to be alert rather than waiting for you to get your identity stolen and then retroactively have to fix it? So with that being said, Truebill, I loved Truebill. Truebill saved me $67 a month because two kids, I got a 14 and a 9-year-old. I trust them blindly. So, hey, I'll let you cross the line. And once you cross the line, I'll bring you back up. But they will go and sign up for things like whatever, Paramount Plus, right? They wanted to watch Halo, right? After 10 episodes, everybody was great. They forgot to cancel it. So it's like, hey, man, come here. You forgot to cancel it. Now you owe me $9.99. But I loved it because I knew that I was already paying it thanks to Truebill. So another amazing platform. Again, the issue that I have is Truebill then got bought out by a very, very large mortgage company for $3.1 billion in the largest data acquisition that I've personally seen in my 42 years of age on this planet. So I wanted to put that out there. I believe that these tools work. I'm just not a fan of companies that are going to be selling my data. That's my disconnect, right? Now back to the credit part. In total, the last time I checked, there's 56 different credit algorithms out there. And not only, people don't know this, but they're geographical, right? So it depends on where you live and also depends on what you're buying. If I go buy a car, likely they're going to pull a FICO 8. If I come to you, right, a loan officer, you're going to pull what is called a residential mortgage credit report. Residential mortgage credit report. Why? You're about to lend me hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're going to look at every skeleton in the closet, AKA 7 years.
Yes.
Right? 7 years. So the algorithm that a lender uses, and it's not just Kim, just Movement. This is across the nation, as far as I know. It has not been changed since 1986. Ooh. The algorithm itself was created in 1956, by the way. I'll get into a little trivia there.
Yes.
But you use three things: FICO 2, 4, 5. They're known as Classic version 2, Beacon 4, and then F5, which is FICO 5. Why do we have three credit scores? Because there's three bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. The issue with Credit Karma is that they use an algorithm that weighs things differently. So here's the three big ones. We'll just go directly to the three big ones. Number one, I just said you look at 7 years of history. Okay. Online scoring models are only going to be looking at the last 24 to 28 months. So let's stop right there for a second. What happened to all of us prior to the last 2 years? Let's go back 2 years. We were in the middle of a global pandemic. Yeah. People lost their job. People ended up not paying their credit cards. What happens after credit cards? Who goes next? Car payments. Why? Because I'm trying to protect my house. I need a roof over my house. People lost their businesses. I personally, in my history, have not seen big decline in credit scores nationwide. Okay, it happened. It sucks, but it happened. The reality is this: Credit Karma now looks at that, or just let's call them online scoring models, just not to dog anybody. So we'll call them online credit models. They don't really, hey, Kim, it's cool. We understand that that'll happen. Sorry, right? But it no longer factors on your credit score. When I just said you're going back 7 years, I understand that it happened, and I'm really sorry that it happened. But unfortunately, the algorithm that lenders use take that in consideration. Late payments, collections, charge-offs. People, another big thing. Well, why is it still on my credit? It's charged off. Well, what do you mean? Why is it still on your credit? Well, they charged it off. Why is it on my credit? Sir, the only difference between a collection and a charge-off is that one at one point or another was helping your credit, the other one wasn't. There's a difference between a positive and a negative contract, but we can have a whole other, conversation on that. So reason number one, time frame. What we call historic data, 7 years, versus what we call trending data, shrink it to 24 months, right? Reason number two, medical bills. Medical bills are not scored by any online scoring model. And this is where a lot of loan officers jump from the back. Well, I don't have to look at them for FHA, DTI. I didn't say debt to income ratio. I said credit score. Mm-hmm. Sure, you're not going to take it in consideration for the debt to income ratio. However, FICO cares, right? Yeah. And something that is crazy to me that nobody gets taught this in high school or college, which is why we're doing this. A collection is a collection is a collection. People are like, that sounds dumb. No, it's not. A medical collection or a Verizon collection or a credit card collection for the same amount that hit your credit report on the same day will affect you exactly the same. Okay? You and I go play racquetball. We both twist our ankle. We both end up with a medical bill. My medical bill is 10 grand. Yours is only 1 grand, but they hit the report on the same day. We're going to lose the same amount of points. Why? I can't take the balance into consideration. That's wealth discrimination, right? So a collection is a collection is a collection. Medical bills form part of that. 7 years, 2 years. Medical bills are collections. Oh, medical bills don't get counted, right? And let's be, again, we just hit the highest medical debt that we've hit as a country, along with credit card debt. We just hit $1.08 trillion of credit card debt, by the way, on the revolving side of things.
Wow.
Which through the FICO algorithm, that's 30% of your score. But if you have a client with $60,000 worth of collections, that's going to be a tough underwriting, right? We're going to have to do some magic there. So that's reason number two. Reason number three, and the one that I like to play a game with, is collections under $100. Do not get scored by online models where a lender sees it. The most popular collection under $100. It's about to start hitting people's credit report in exactly 3 months. We do it in January. We all do this in January, not your taxes. Better me. New year, new me. I'm going to go to the gym. This is a year, stick through it. And then May hits. May, June hits. I'll do it next year, Kim. But here's the thing. And I would love, whenever we post this, to put stories, I would love anecdotes of people trying to get out of a gym contract.
Wow.
Right? It's hard, man. When I was going to the local gym and then the pandemic hit and it was shut down, I couldn't go, right? And they're like, "Well, you signed the contract, but I can't use your facilities." Oh, well, too bad. So sad. I literally ended up printing a plane ticket. I was like, I'm moving to another country. And then finally I got out of that. And people think it's a story, but I literally just had a plane ticket because I was going back home, and spending some time in Argentina. And I was like, here, I'm leaving the country. Things like that. Toll road, parking tickets, all those little things. The other one that drives me nuts is, well, I'm done with DirecTV. I'm going to go to Comcast or whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is you forgot to bring back a tiny piece of equipment. Right? $78 collection on your report. No, but I took the box back. Do you get a receipt? No. Oh, well, UPS lost it or FedEx lost it.
Mhm.
Do you get a receipt? A tracking number? No. Sucks. So those are the big differences. Other little things, like for example, you and I, obviously, when we're talking to people about CCU, credit card utilization, we tell people, and people think we're crazy, but we tell people don't use more than 10% of your limit. Don't use more than 10% of your limit, because there's brackets, right? 10, 30, 50, 70, and so on. And it goes up and up and up and up. The more of your credit card you use, the lower your credit score. And that's why a lot of these online models that we're discussing, right, constantly hitting you with notifications. It's clickbait, by the way.
Yeah.
But hitting you, Kim, you're up 10 points. You're down 8. You're up 7. You're not. If you're worried about 10 points, man, you shouldn't be trying to buy a home. Let's just put it that way, right? If that's what you're monitoring, or people are like, oh, I don't want my credit pooled. I don't want the lender to pool my credit. That's 3 points on average, right? So we're worrying about minutia when we really should understand that, oh, okay, there's this gigantic differences between what my lender's going to see versus what I'm seeing on my phone. But those are the big ones.
Let me ask you, you just said something that kind of just piqued my, and we'll end with this, because thank you, brother, for all this information. I could talk to you for literally 8 hours. And I know the information you're sharing is so important to so many people, not only people in our industry, but the consumers. And so the thing about getting a hit on your credit report by a lender pulling your credit, is there a time window where the credit reporting agencies are looking at this information as someone just shopping around, and we're not going to hit them with so many little dings on their credit report as far as points are, whether there's a car or a house or anything else like that?
I'm going to make this very simple for you. And again, the more that we have these conversations, the more this is going to end up in the consumer's hand. And that's what I want. That's why we're doing this.
Yes.
There's only one shopping window, and only one, and that's a mortgage. Okay. Rule of thumb, go with 30 days to be safe. Again, it depends on the algorithm, the company. There's so many variables, but let's just be safe and sound here. 30 days, and it is only for mortgages, right? I've seen it where I have clients that call me, I just got hit, and I'll say, hey, let's take a look. Let's just take a look at your report, see what's going on. By the way, we only do soft pull, so we never come up as a hit. But I've seen people get their credit pool the same day because they were out car shopping 23 times.
Wow.
Right, and that's right. You have the Kim's Dodge here, and Kim's Jeep is right here, and Kim's Chevy's right here, and go walk around, go shop around, and meanwhile, right, all of this is going on. But when it comes to shopping windows, it only applies, as far as the data that I'm privy to, and I've probably seen well over 40,000 credit reports. It only applies to mortgages, and again, to be safe, 30 days.
All right, and so let's end with this. Let's end with something a little fun. And I know you didn't know I was going to ask you this part. I think it's really important for people that are busy, people that are dealing with other people's personal information, their finances, the way they have to plan things out because of certain circumstances. It's important for people like us to have hobbies, things that we can get away from our day-to-day grind. And archery, tell me about that.
I'm like, at one point or another, he's gonna call me out on something. Yes. So the whole craze started because of this guy named Mark, who used to be my college roommate. And I remember I had gone to Dick's Sporting Goods back then, and I come home with a compound bow, 60-pound compound. And he looks at me, he's like, why would you waste your time in that? That's garbage. I was like, whoa, bro, like I'm trying to pick up something new here. He's like, no. That weekend, I remember went to his dad's house. His dad lives up in the mountains here in Colorado, in Red Feather Lake. And you see the targets, you see the arrows. So now I'm like, all right, this is it. And he comes out with this beautiful, beautiful, just velvet bag. And he had a recurve in there.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, this is the most beautiful piece of woodwork that I personally seen, right? So I see this man just slapping arrows on arrows. You're talking
Wow.
millimeters for about 40 to 50 feet out with a curve, a recurve. And the sound, once you hear this, because the compound is cool, it's cool. But it's the same thing that I like to compare. Like you have MMA, which is cool, like pow, 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 versus somebody being really good at Kung Fu. Just complete flow of everything. And once I got a wooden bow in my hand, it was over. It
Mm.
was over. So I went from the recurve to the long bow. And I can be out there, even when it's snowing here, you can just be out there. And I know Joe Rogan has said this, but everything else, everything else disappears. You and that arrow and whatever it is that arrow is supposed to go, it's bliss, man. It's just peace. It's
Yeah.
it's
So
it's insane.
is it a hobby, or do you compete? Do you do any of that stuff?
No, no, no. It's just me completely disconnecting and going away from everything. I'll take my kids and that's fun time, right? I coach soccer, that's another hobby. I got 9 and 12-year-olds. That's me giving them something and kind of just doing something together. When I go to the range myself, that's just me time, right? It's like my own little time in a sense, my own little time for prayer and peace and just really just reconnecting, grounding, and just recharging. You got to recharge otherwise with our lives, man.
Well, dude, thank you so much, man. How can people get in touch with you?
We're one of Movement's preferred partners. So anybody that's running into challenges or just plain simple want to learn, connect with your Movement Mortgage loan officer. They have direct access to us. UQUAL.com, UQUAL.com. And again, we're a financial wellness tool for anybody that's looking to purchase a home. That's the only vertical that we're in. You wanna purchase a home, you wanna create wealth. That's what we're here to help with.
Well, thank you, brother. Listen, have a wonderful day. Enjoy the Mile High City and Colorado, beautiful area. It was a pleasure, and I can't wait for
Absolutely.
us to speak again, man.
Man, thank you so much for having. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. I appreciate it.
You got it. Take care.